Hey guys and welcome back to my channel. Aliens have been the fascinating feature is in the world. People are often suspicious about the existence of this creature. So what do you think, do aliens exist if it's just a myth? Even science can't prove their existence yet. Well, in today's video, we are going to share about the top 10 facts about aliens. Keep watching the video till number 1 as it is one of the most fascinating fact about them. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Number 10. The government specifically just self-confessed it's taking UFOs seriously. In the year 1952, a CIA group called the Psychological Strategy Board resolved that, when it came to UFOs, the American public was riskily gullible and prone to hysterical mass behavior. The group recommended debunking movements to tamper the public's attention in unexplained phenomena. But the management seems to have been interested, too. In December, the Pentagon confirmed the existence of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. Formed in the year 2007 by Senators Ted Stevens, who reported being chased by a mysterious object, Daniel Inouye, and then Majority Leader Harry Reid, and funded with $22 million of black money from the Department of Defense's budget, the program investigated and evaluated reports of UFO sightings, many of which came from American service members. Number 9. Scientists are unexpectedly much more bullish about the option of life out there. Just 30 years previously, we had not exposed a single planet outside our solar system. Now we know of more than 3,000 of them, and we see nearly every star in the night sky has at least one planet in its orbit. Even people who are not terribly interested in science know that we've found that planets are as common as fire hydrants, they're everywhere, says Seth Shostak, the senior astrophysicist at the SETI Institute. 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 might be a planet similar to the Earth. That doesn't mean we'll ever find an exact model of Earth, but maybe we don't have to. Our study of other planets and moons in the solar system shows us numerous worlds possess the ingredients essential for life in atmosphere, organic compounds, liquid water, and other necessities. Number 8. That special asteroid actually looks an awful lot like a rocket ship. When Oumuamua, the name means first messenger in Hawaiian, was revealed floating through the solar system in October, SETI nuts directly started checking the boxes that recommended the rod-shaped object might be an alien spacecraft of some kind. After all, it's the first interstellar object we've ever seen pass through the solar system. UFO fanatics point out that rods, along with flying saucers, are the two most common shapes cited by witnesses in UFO sightings, and the cigar shape would allow it to be slim enough to avoid collision with other objects, as well as exploit aerodynamics for travel. Both the SETI Institute and the Breakthrough Listen initiative pointed their instruments toward the object but found no unusual signals emitting from it. Of course, maybe it's an ancient relic from an interstellar civilization, or maybe the aliens just weren't interested in making contact, that asteroid nest could have just been camouflage. With the thing on its way out of the solar system, we may never see. Number 7. As are some projecting military and government folks. Know that there are people who watch our blues to defend the sleeping masses, Britain's former chief UFO investigator cautions in his memoir. But also know that not all potential intruders into our airspace have 2 wings, a fuselage, and a tail, and not all show up on our radar. Pope's ominous advice follows time he consumed in the 90s, reviewing thousands of paranormal incidents from crop circles to purported bedside seizures. He took that effort certain this kind of stuff only happened to weirdos, but incomprehensible sightings soon influenced him that there is a combat going on with aliens. Worse, the UK Defence Ministry cut his old UFO desk's funding in the year 2009, so whatever's out there could attack at any time, Pope believes. Earthlings' reduced odds have gotten him more fatalistic lately, too. After scientists suggested Oumuamua, a bizarre-shaped asteroid that's the first interstellar thing to pass through our solar system, might be an alien spaceship, he claimed in the month of December, we probably wouldn't survive an alien attack anyway, because if they discover us, it's clear who has the upper hand. Number 6. An intellectual thinks he can talk to them. In January, Stephen Wolfram, a computer scientist, philosopher and the author of a universal programming linguistic that informed the alien communication in the movie Arrival, wrote an exceedingly long blog post about how best to communicate with aliens. We know the exact example that we have historically been exposed to. Life on Earth, human intelligence. The question is, when you generalize away from that, what do you get to? One of the things that I'm fond of quoting is the statement, the weather has a mind of its own. What does this mean? What is the abstract generative thing that's like the mind? It's the ability to do sophisticated computation. That's something that exists in the weather, just as it exists in our intelligences, just as it exists in lots of living systems. And then, what's different between the weather and its sort of mind-like thing and our human intelligence? The essential answer to that is our human intellect has its particular cultural, civilizational antiquity, and the weather doesn't. Number 5. There have been enough well-known myths to fill encyclopedias. The Hills, above, claimed that in the year 1961, a lively light swooped over their car on a New Hampshire road and that they woke up a few hours later and the car had been magnetized. With deteriorating hypnosis, both were able to recall being abducted and probed by the little gray men, which soon became the de facto alien explanation. The Hills' captors were, interestingly, very similar to Selenites, the 5-foot moon inhabitants H.G. Wells invented for the first men in the moon. Betty astonished authorities when she began drawing a map of the constellation the creatures claimed to be from. Initially it looked like nonsense, until a few scientists noticed its resemblance to Zeta Reticule, a system inside the constellation Reticulum largely unidentified in that year. Their case generated widespread publicity, partly because they were a mixed-race couple in the 60s and turned into the flagship example of a close encounter, though not until years after the fact. Skeptics argue the delayed report is a sign it's a hoax. The hype ultimately culminated in the UFO incident, a 1975 made-for-TV movie starring James Earl Jones and Estelle Parsons. Number 4. We even have some pretty developed theories about why we haven't perceived. The aliens are all deceased. Let's start with the most miserable theory. Maybe we haven't found extraterrestrials because they're all deceased, at least now. The universe is 13.78 billion years old, and in that amount of time, there might have been adequately of civilizations that evolved and went extinct. The aliens are all sleeping. But maybe they're not deceased, just hibernating. Another theory suggests that maybe there's an extraterrestrial species out there that's so advanced it cannot efficiently make use of its technology right now because the universe's temperature is currently too high. Good news, though. The universe's temperature is cooling down, even as Earth's is heating up. So, aliens may have definite to take a snooze for a few trillion years while they wait for colder climate that's more suited. Number 3. Aliens can be whatever we need them to be. It didn't used to be that way. UFO narratives became more popular in the 1950s and 60s, and during that age, the descriptions of the aliens would be almost human-like in form. If you see illustrations that some of the so-called contacts made, the aliens almost look like Swedish persons, very attractive blonde types with shining eyes. The abductee narrative really took over pop culture in the 1970s and 80s, and after that, there's this homogenization of the public awareness because of all the stories and TV and movies about seizures. Number 2. A brief historical record. 1899. Nikola Tesla signs rhythmic sounds on a radio receiver and is persuaded they're communications from Martians. 1924. At the request of David Todd, former head of the astronomy department at Amherst College, the Navy agrees to limit unnecessary radio communications from its largest bases for one day so that he can heed for alien signals as Mars passes closer to Earth than it's been in over a century. Number 1. Other reviews. The Warminster thing. Warminster's long-debated association with UFOs began in the English town on Christmas Day in 1964 when a local woman heard a crackling sound rip over her head. Other so-called sonic outbreaks plagued scores of others in town around the same time. Townspeople had no clue what was behind them, so they began blaming the thing. Additional reports of inexplicable lights in the sky made it clear the thing might have hailed from outer space. Travis Walton's abduction in 1975, a team of loggers claimed their 22-year-old co-worker Travis Walton disappeared for 5 days after a glowing disc in the Arizona woods zapped him with a bluish ray. Intrigued, he'd reportedly wandered beneath the hovering object and it abducted him. He awoke on a table in a sterile-looking room surrounded by 3 well-developed fetuses wearing tan robes. He tried to flee, passed out, then recovered consciousness only once the aliens had discarded him on the Arizona roadside. The story established loads of publicity. Authorities thought Walton had been killed, and 7 eyewitnesses corroborating a single close encounter was unheard of. The National Enquirer ultimately paid the group $5,000 for the story after they passed polygraphs, and Walton agreed to be interrogated by the tabloid's prestigious hypnotist. In 1993, Paramount released Fire in the Sky, a movie it said was based on the most famous case of UFO kidnapping ever recorded. Skeptics have shot holes in what they assume was a hoax and note that James Earl Jones' NBC movie The UFO Incident had aired 2 weeks before Walton's own UFO incident. The encounter has a cult succeeding to this day, though, enough that a first edition of Walton's 1978 memoir The Walton Experience now fetches hundreds of dollars online. Here we come to the end of our video. Let us know which of the fact amazed you the most in the comments section down below. I hope you liked today's video and found all information fascinating and exciting. If you want to hear more from us, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you never miss an update. That is all for today. See you soon in the next video. Till then, take care of yourself. Thanks for watching.